The void of space stretched endlessly, silent and cold, but not empty. Far beyond the crowded trade lanes of the galactic core, a single human outpost floated on the edge of forgotten space. It was small, a lonely speck orbiting a dim red star, so far from everything that even the nearest alien patrols ignored it. To the galaxy, it was nothing. To humanity, it was everything. On the observation deck, Commander Elias Core stood still, staring at the deep darkness beyond the glass. His eyes followed the faint glimmer of distant suns, thinking of the message that had arrived 12 hours ago. A single plea for help. Weak. Broken. Barely readable. And yet, it had come from here. No one on the outpost had sent it. The distress call was old, the signal distorted, bouncing through dead relays before reaching the core worlds. But when Earth Command traced it, the origin was clear, this forgotten outpost. The problem was, it was empty. No crew. No life signs. Only silence. Elias turned away from the glass and looked at his team. Engineers, soldiers, scientists, just 40 of them, had arrived only a week ago to investigate why this station had gone dark. What they found was worse than anyone expected. Systems still worked, though badly. Supplies were untouched. There were signs of life, half-eaten meals, open lockers, personal logs, but not one body. As the commander walked through the corridor, a cold hum echoed from deep within the structure. The station seemed alive, as if it watched the newcomers. "Power readings just spiked again," said Dr. Wren, the lead scientist, stepping out from the lab. "Core reactors are cycling, but there's no command input. It's like the station is running itself." Elias nodded but said nothing. He had seen the same readings. Something was keeping this place alive. Something that wasn't human. Hours passed. They searched the outpost level by level, marking each area clear, but finding nothing. No aliens. No signs of struggle. No remains. Only strange scratches along the walls, marks too deep to be human-made. At 0300 ship time, the sensors screamed. "Gravitational shift detected." The AI voice barked across the comms. "Incoming mass signature, large, approaching fast." The crew rushed to the control deck. Through the main viewport, a shadow rose from the edge of the system. Not a ship. Not a fleet. Something far larger. Elias felt his stomach tighten. Whatever it was, it had been waiting. The shadow moved closer, its outline breaking the stars behind it. The station trembled under the strain of proximity. Metal groaned as if the ancient structure feared what was coming. Dr. Wren whispered, "Commander, we shouldn't be here." Before Elias could reply, the distress beacon, the same one they had come to investigate, lit up again. Only this time, it was clear, powerful, and not from the past. It was being broadcast now. Across frequencies, across alien channels, across the entire sector. But it wasn't calling for help. It was calling for war. The signal declared one thing over and over, in every known galactic language. This system belongs to humanity. Leave, or face extinction. No one moved. No one spoke. The AI flickered, screens showing hundreds, no, thousands of alien ships redirecting, responding to the sudden broadcast. The galaxy, which had ignored this lonely outpost for decades, now turned its gaze here. And somewhere beyond the black horizon, something enormous waited, pulsing with energy, something that had not been built by human hands, but now claimed to serve humanity. Commander Elias whispered to himself, barely audible, "What did we wake up?" Far from the station, hidden in the dark, alien observers watched. Their ships floated like silent predators, their captains speaking in uneasy tones. "They should not have this technology," one hissed. "They didn't build it," another replied. "But now, it answers to them." The galaxy had ignored humanity's outpost. It had dismissed them as fragile, young, unimportant. But now humanity had claimed a solar system. And the stars began to shake. The signal spread like wildfire across the stars. Every relay, Every listening post, every alien vessel in the sector caught the message. Some laughed. Some grew silent. Others panicked. But no one ignored it. On the human outpost, alarms flashed red. The crew gathered on the command deck as reports streamed in, unknown vessels changing course, converging on their location. Dr. Wren stood at the console, her fingers moving fast across the interface. "Multiple fleets," she said, voice tight. "At least 5 different species. They're not allies, but they're all coming. And they're coming fast." Commander Elias leaned forward, staring at the screen. Blips appeared like falling stars, one after another, marking warships moving through hyperspace. None were human. "ETA?" Elias asked. Wren swallowed. "Some will be here in hours. Others, days. But there's no chance we leave before the first one arrives." Silence fell over the crew. The station hummed again, louder this time, as if responding to the threat. Lights along the walls pulsed, spreading from the reactor core through every corridor. Energy readings spiked to dangerous levels. The station was awakening. But to what? "We need to shut it down," said Lieutenant Rourke, the security chief. "This thing is pulling attention we don't want. And if it belongs to whoever built it." "It belongs to us now," Elias cut in sharply. "The message said so." Rourke stared at him. "Did we send that message, sir?" Elias didn't answer. Hours later, the outpost received its first visitor. A small alien scout ship broke from hyperspace, its hull glowing faintly from entry burns. It didn't fire. It didn't broadcast demands. It simply drifted toward the station, silent and slow. Inside the control room, the crew watched the feed in uneasy quiet. "They're scanning us," Dr. Wren reported. "But, the readings, the station isn't letting them get close." "Not letting them." Elias frowned. As if answering, the station's outer rings rotated with a low, metallic groan. Hidden panels opened, revealing something no one expected. Massive cannon arrays, long dormant, now coming to life. Red targeting lines lanced across the void, locking on the alien scout. "Stand down," Elias muttered, almost to himself. "We're not at war yet." But the station didn't listen. A single beam of blue light erupted from one of the arrays. The alien ship vanished. No explosion, no debris, just gone. Vaporized. The crew froze. Then, the station pulsed again, brighter this time, sending another broadcast across the void. A single phrase. "This system is under human protection." Panic spread across the alien fleets. Some slowed, reassessing. Others accelerated, ready to test the claim. No one had ever seen human weapons do that. Not even close. Humans had ships, yes. Fleets, yes. But nothing capable of erasing a vessel so cleanly. "It's not ours," Dr. Wren whispered, staring at the station's glowing core. "This technology, it's millions of years ahead of us." "And yet it fights for us," Elias said, almost in awe. "For now," Wren replied. Far beyond the station, deep within alien space, councils convened. The message had reached empires, trade guilds, and warlords. Some saw opportunity. Others saw danger. All saw one thing clearly. If humans had gained control of ancient weapons, the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted. "Destroy them before they learn to use it fully," one alien leader hissed. "Negotiate," another advised. "Perhaps the station can be shared." "Or taken," a third growled. Back on the outpost, humanity prepared. Elias ordered defensive positions, emergency drills, and weapons activation across their own ships. But deep down, everyone knew, their guns meant nothing compared to what now protected them. Still, fear crept in. Because no one knew what the station really wanted. At 0600 ship time, another pulse shook the structure. But this time, it wasn't a broadcast. It was a signal. One meant only for humans. A holographic projection shimmered into existence at the center of the command deck. Not a message. Not an image. A star map. It showed the system they were in, bright and alive. Then it expanded, showing surrounding sectors. Hundreds of systems. Thousands. Each one marked with the same symbol. The crew stared, breathless. Dr. Wren whispered, "Is it claiming all of these?" Elias spoke, voice low, almost fearful. "No. It's asking us to." The galaxy had ignored humanity's outpost. But now it faced a question no species had ever asked. What happens when an ancient weapon chooses a new master? The alien fleets arrived like hunters drawn to blood. Dozens of warships slid from hyperspace, forming a blockade around the human outpost. Their hulls reflected distant starlight, their weapons glowing faintly as they aligned toward the silent station. On the command deck, tension hung heavy. Every screen showed incoming data, ships, firepower, trajectories. The numbers told one truth. If the aliens attacked together, the outpost wouldn't survive. Unless the station did something no one understood. Commander Elias stood at the viewport, staring at the growing armada. How long before they make their move? Dr. Wren didn't look up from her console. Minutes, maybe less. They're running scans. No one trusts what they're seeing. Rourke, the security chief, growled. They saw that scout ship get erased. And they're still coming. Wren's voice was grim. Curiosity, or fear. Both are dangerous. The first broadcast came from the alien fleet leader. A deep, guttural voice filled the station, translated by the AI. Humans. You have no right to this system. You have no right to that weapon. Stand down. Vacate the outpost. Leave the station to those who understand it. Elias answered, his voice steady. This station answered to humanity first. It stays with us. The alien commander hissed in reply. Then you will be erased along with it. The transmission ended. The alien fleet moved. Missiles streaked across space, leaving white trails of light. Energy lances burned through the void, each one powerful enough to shatter human cruisers. But before a single shot reached its target, the station reacted. Panels across its surface opened, revealing more weapons, hundreds this time. Some glowed white-blue, others shimmered with strange light patterns beyond human science. Then, without warning, the station fired. The first volley was silent, no heat, no flash, just beams of light moving faster than thought. The alien missiles vanished mid-flight, swallowed by ripples of distortion. Energy lances dissolved like smoke. The second volley was not silent. Bolts of compressed plasma tore through the nearest ships. Alien shields shattered. Hulls disintegrated. In seconds, 5 ships were gone, reduced to glowing fragments drifting in space. The fleet panicked. Some ships tried to retreat. Others, blinded by rage, surged forward, firing everything they had. But the station was faster, its defenses activating in patterns too complex for human eyes to follow. Shields of solid light formed, bending and warping under fire, then flaring outward like shockwaves, turning enemy blasts back on their senders. Within minutes, half the attacking force was gone. The survivors fled. On the command deck, no one spoke at first. The display showed the aftermath, wreckage floating like frozen fire, engines flickering out in silence. Dr. Wren broke the stillness. This isn't defense technology. It's something else. It learns, adapts, reacts faster than anything alive. Elias turned to her. Then it knows what's coming next. Wren's fingers trembled above the console. If it doesn't, we're finished. Because this was only a probe. The real fleets will come. Far beyond the battlefield, the alien empires watched the live feed from their scout drones. Silence spread across council chambers and war rooms. A voice whispered among them, trembling. That was no human weapon. Another hissed. No, but it obeys them. And that makes it worse. A third voice, cold and sharp, concluded. They have woken a relic. Now, They must die before it wakes another. Back at the outpost, the station pulsed again, flooding the command deck with its strange blue light. The star map returned, but larger this time. It stretched across multiple sectors, highlighting ancient routes between long-dead civilizations. Then new symbols appeared. Human fleet icons, where no human ships existed. The crew stared in shock. Dr. Wren whispered, "It's asking us to build them." Elias clenched his jaw. "It's not asking. It's preparing us for war." Somewhere deep inside the station, machinery shifted. Massive doors opened along its lower structure. Holograms displayed schematics, designs for ships humanity had never dreamed of. Warships larger than cities. Carriers that could move between stars without hyperspace lanes. Weapons that bent light and gravity. The crew stood frozen, realizing what they were looking at. The station wasn't just a fortress. It was a factory. As the glow faded, a final pulse shook the structure, a signal sent far, far beyond human space. A message too complex for anyone to translate. But one thing was clear. It wasn't calling for help. It was calling for more stations. The galaxy had seen humanity's first stand. Now, it braced for something far worse. The station had gone silent again, but the crew knew it was far from dormant. Deep inside its core, machinery hummed with a rhythm that felt almost alive. The holographic star map still hovered in the air, casting blue light across the command deck. Each glowing marker represented a system, and a future battlefield. Commander Elias stood before it, arms folded, mind racing. The station had shown them designs for ships, warships beyond human technology. But there was a problem. "We don't have the materials to build these," Dr. Wren said, voice low but sharp. "Even if we did, we don't have the knowledge. These designs, they're like puzzles with missing pieces." Elias glanced at her. "Then we learn fast. Because when the alien fleets return, they won't come to negotiate." Rourke, the security chief, leaned on the console, scanning reports from long-range sensors. "They're already regrouping. 3 different empires. They're coordinating." He hesitated before adding, "This is the first time I've ever seen them agree on anything." Wren grimaced. "Fear can unite enemies faster than friendship." Hours passed in tense silence. Engineers explored the station's lower levels, searching for access points to the so-called factory systems. They found massive construction bays, dark and cold, but intact. Rows of dormant machines, some the size of small buildings, waited like sleeping giants. One technician, crouched near a console, reported back to Elias over comms. "We think we found a way to power the assembly lines, sir. But the interface, it's not human. Not even close. Can you bypass it?" Elias asked. There was a pause. "Maybe. But if we guess wrong, we could shut the whole station down. Or worse, wake up something we can't control." Elias looked at Dr. Wren. She met his gaze but said nothing. The risk was obvious. Meanwhile, beyond human space, the galaxy trembled. Alien fleets gathered around council stations, trade hubs, and hidden war factories. Diplomats shouted. Generals argued. Leaders demanded answers no one had. How did humanity, a young, fragile species, gain control of such a relic? And what would they do with it? One alien commander, his scaled face hidden under a hood, addressed the others through a holographic link. "We cannot let them expand. If they claim one system, they will claim more. If they awaken more stations, the balance of the galaxy ends." Another hissed in agreement. "Then we strike first. Together." A third added, "But do not underestimate the weapon. Its power erased ships as if they were dust. If we fail, humanity will no longer be a small species. They will be a ruling one." Back at the outpost, the station pulsed again. This time, the holographic display shifted, showing not ships, not star maps, but something stranger. DNA sequences. Neural patterns. Human. Dr. Wren stared in confusion. It's scanning us. Elias frowned. For what? Wren swallowed hard. For control. The lights across the deck flickered, and the hologram changed again, this time showing the silhouette of a human-shaped figure, surrounded by streams of alien code. Slowly, the figure stepped forward out of the projection, becoming a faint, ghost-like presence. It looked human, but not quite. Its features shifted like static, as if struggling to settle on one form. The crew froze. The figure spoke. Not in words, but in thoughts. Each person heard the same message inside their mind. One must link. One must guide. Elias felt a chill. It wants a pilot. Wren shook her head. Not a pilot. A key. Someone who can merge with the system. Rourke growled, and what happens to the person who does that? No one answered. Alarms blared. The AI announced, multiple fleets approaching. Estimate, 112 warships. ETA, 4 hours. Elias clenched his fists. The alien coalition had arrived. In the engineering bay, the dormant machines began to stir. Metal arms unfolded. Platforms glowed. Energy surged through the construction lines. The station wasn't waiting for permission anymore. It was building. Blueprints flashed across the consoles, warships of impossible scale. But the final piece remained locked. Without a link, the station would only produce defensive drones, not full-scale ships. The crew worked furiously. Every minute brought the alien fleets closer. Every second felt heavier than the last. Far beyond the outpost, alien admirals spoke final orders to their fleets. Approach from all angles. Overwhelm. Do not give them time to activate more weapons. Another voice added, if the station resists, destroy the planet it orbits. Collapse the star, if we must. On the command deck, Elias turned to his crew. It's asking for one of us. If we don't answer, this place might shut down. Or worse, turn against us. Wren stared at the ghostly figure still hovering in the projection. And if we do answer, what happens to the one who links? The figure seemed to hear her thoughts. Its form sharpened, almost smiling. Elias exhaled. We don't have a choice. Outside the viewport, distant stars flickered, alien warships emerging from hyperspace like predators closing on prey. Inside, the station waited. So did the crew. So did the ghost. The ghostly figure floated above the command deck, its form flickering like a hologram caught between dimensions. Its voice, silent yet clear in every crew member's mind, repeated the same message. One must link. One must guide. Commander Elias felt the weight of those words pressing down on him. Around him, the crew exchanged uneasy glances. No one wanted to say what they were all thinking. Whoever linked might not come back. Dr. Wren finally spoke, her voice low. The station is alive. It's waiting for someone to merge, to become its voice. Rourke growled, or its prisoner. No one disagreed. Outside the station, the stars shifted, alien fleets dropping out of hyperspace one by one. Massive cruisers, carriers, and destroyers took formation, encircling the system like wolves closing in on prey. Their weapons glowed with a faint hum of lethal power. On the deck, the AI announced in a calm tone that felt almost mocking. Estimated enemy strength, 112 ships. Estimated survival rate without full system activation, 0%. The ghostly figure turned its gaze toward Elias. Its shape grew sharper, less like a blur and more like a person. Tall, human-shaped, but with features that seemed just slightly wrong, as though remembering a face it had never seen. Wren stepped closer, whispering, "It's choosing." A low hum spread through the deck as the station reacted. Lights along the walls pulsed in slow rhythm, like a heartbeat. The ghost extended a hand toward Elias, then toward Wren, then toward Rourke, testing. Measuring. Searching. Then it stopped. The hand pointed directly at Wren. Her breath caught. Me. Elias frowned. Why you? Ren shook her head slowly. Neural compatibility. Genetic markers. I don't know. But it's not random. Rourke scowled. We don't know what it'll do to you. You could save us, Ren finished, her voice steadier than she felt. She looked at Elias. If I don't, we die anyway. The ghost moved closer, its form almost brushing hers. A sudden surge of light wrapped around her body. Not painful, not warm, just alien. She gasped as strange symbols streamed across her vision, patterns of thought not her own. The station was speaking directly into her mind now, faster than she could comprehend. Elias reached out. Ren, wait. She shook her head. No time. The alien fleets began their approach. On the main screen, dozens of ships moved in coordinated patterns, cutting off escape routes and locking firing solutions. Energy lances charged. Missiles armed. Massive dreadnoughts powered their superweapons, enough firepower to reduce a planet to molten rock. The station pulsed again, brighter, louder, alive. Ren gasped as streams of alien code poured into her mind. It was like drowning in data, like feeling a storm crash inside her skull. Her body went rigid, then relaxed, her eyes glowing faint blue. The ghost dissolved, merging into her. Systems across the station roared to life. Massive construction arms unfolded, activating the factory bays. Energy surged through conduits, powering strange machines that had not moved in thousands of years. On the main screen, holographic schematics of warships updated in real time, shapes assembling faster than human eyes could follow. The station was building, pulling raw material from the asteroid belt, vaporizing stone into metal, forming armor plates and weapon systems out of thin air. The alien fleets opened fire. Bolts of plasma, beams of light, and kinetic slugs streaked across space, converging on the station from every angle. But before a single shot struck home, the station's shields erupted outward. Not simple barriers, but walls of bending light that rippled like water, redirecting incoming fire, twisting beams into spirals of harmless energy. The first wave failed. Ren's voice came through the comm, soft yet strange, half human, half something else. Systems online. Weapon arrays calibrated. Defensive grid adaptive. Elias glanced toward her. Ren, are you still? Me? She finished. Her faint smile was not fully human. Mostly. The second wave of alien fire began. Bigger, stronger, more coordinated. But this time, the station fought back. Dozens of energy cannons fired in perfect unison, beams lancing across the void. Enemy shields shattered like glass. Ships crumpled under invisible forces. Whole formations disintegrated in seconds, leaving only burning wrecks behind. Yet still, the fleets pressed on. Inside the command deck, Ren's hands hovered over the console, though she barely touched it. The station moved with her thoughts now, responding faster than human reflexes. Elias watched her, knowing the truth. She wasn't just guiding the station. She was becoming it. Beyond the battle, the alien admirals watched in horror as ship after ship was torn apart. Yet still, more fleets were coming. Bigger ones. Stronger ones. The Outpost might survive this day, but the war had only begun. The station pulsed again. This time, the message wasn't just for Ren. It echoed across human space, across deep space relays, reaching every colony and fleet. Mobilize. The stars are waking. Claim them, or lose them forever. The battle had ended, but only for now. Alien wreckage floated across the void, glowing faintly as fire consumed what remained. The station's shields flickered, dimming slightly before stabilizing again. Inside, the crew stood silent, staring at Ren. Or rather, at what she was becoming. Her eyes glowed with faint blue light, her breathing calm but strangely mechanical, as though guided by a rhythm not her own. She stood perfectly still, connected to the station through invisible threads of thought. Commander Elias broke the silence. Ren, talk to me. Are you still, you? Her gaze shifted toward him, but her voice carried an echo, part human, part something far older. I am integrated. The station and I think together now. Rourke muttered, "That's not an answer I like." Wren tilted her head, faintly amused, yet distant. "You wanted a guide. Now you have one." Across human space, the signal continued to spread. Every colony, every orbital platform, every deep space mining post received the same message. Mobilize. The stars are waking. On Earth, panic turned to urgency. Governments argued, corporations calculated, and military leaders scrambled to prepare. The Outpost had declared ownership of a solar system, backed by a weapon that had erased fleets. But the alien response had proven one thing. They would come back. In greater numbers. With greater fury. Inside the station, construction lines continued their work. Massive skeletal frames of new ships floated in zero gravity, plates of metal sliding into place, glowing seams welding themselves shut. These were not human designs. Every line, every curve spoke of ancient engineering. Yet somehow, they felt familiar. As if the station were reshaping its secrets to fit human hands. Elias watched the holographic display showing ship schematics. How long before the first one is ready? Wren closed her eyes briefly. 17 hours. The station is accelerating production. But materials will run short soon. Meaning? Elias asked. We'll have to take more, Wren said softly. Asteroids. Moons. Maybe planets. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. They weren't just defending an outpost anymore. They were feeding a machine capable of building weapons that could shift galactic power. Rourke muttered, "And what happens when the aliens see what we're building?" Elias didn't answer. He already knew. Far beyond the outpost, alien leaders gathered again, watching the aftermath of their failed assault. The images of destroyed fleets filled their council chambers, the silence broken only by low growls and hissed curses. One warlord slammed his clawed hand on the table. They have awakened an ancient foundry. If we wait, they will build ships stronger than ours. We must strike now, before their fleet is ready. Another leader shook his head. You saw what one station did to our first assault. Imagine what it will do once their warships join the fight. A third voice whispered, almost fearful. Then we do not fight one. We fight all. Every empire. Every fleet. One last, great strike. Back at the station, Wren spoke again, her voice distant, layered with static. They are planning a joint offensive. Dozens of empires. Hundreds of fleets. They will not allow humanity to rise. Elias frowned. How do you know that? Wren's faint smile returned. Because the station is listening to them. The crew fell silent. The thought was terrifying, and yet oddly reassuring. The station wasn't just a fortress. It was a spy. A mind. A weapon. Hours passed. The skeleton of the first warship grew into form. A vessel larger than anything humanity had ever built. Sleek armor curved like blades of light, weapon mounts shimmering with untested energy cores. Its hull bore no name, only a faint emblem glowing along the side, a simple outline of Earth. Rourke stared through the viewport. I don't know whether to be proud or scared. Elias replied quietly. Both. Wren's eyes closed again, her voice lowering. The station says there are more like it. Dormant. Waiting. Some deeper in uncharted space. Some closer. Elias stepped forward. Closer. Wren nodded. 2 more stations, one 3 jumps away. Another. Inside alien territory. Rourke scowled. So, we're not just defending anymore. We're going to claim more. Elias stared at the holographic map as new markers lit up. The galaxy had ignored humanity once. Now, it had no choice but to notice. Beyond the void, alien fleets moved. Thousands of warships converged on rally points, forming the largest coalition armada in centuries. The command to attack would come soon. But so would humanity's answer. The station pulsed one final time, flooding the command deck with light. The message was simple. The First Fleet will be ready. Prepare for expansion. 17 hours later, the first warship left the station's assembly bay. It was massive, sleek, and silent, its dark hull glowing with faint lines of blue energy. No human had ever seen a ship like it, because no human had ever built one. The crew watched from the command deck as the vessel rotated into position. Automated systems, extensions of the station itself, controlled its movements, testing engines, charging weapons, aligning shields. Dr. Wren stood at the center of the deck, no longer fully herself. Her eyes glowed faintly, her voice calm yet distant. Designation: Vanguard 1. Operational. Combat ready. Rourke exhaled slowly. That thing, looks like it could tear a moon in half. Wren's gaze didn't shift. It could. Far beyond the outpost, the alien coalition armada approached. Hundreds of ships from dozens of empires moved as one. Massive carriers, dreadnoughts, and weapons platforms forming a wall of steel and fire. It was the largest fleet the sector had seen in centuries, and it was coming to destroy humanity's claim before it could spread. Alien commanders spoke in harsh tones across encrypted channels. Strike fast. Overwhelm defenses. Crush them before the Foundry builds another. They didn't know another was already waiting. Inside the station, alarms flashed. Elias stood beside Wren. How long until the rest of the fleet is ready? Wren's eyes closed briefly. Days. We don't have days. Elias looked at the screen showing enemy trajectories. Then Vanguard 1 has to hold them long enough. Rourke muttered, one ship against hundreds? That's suicide. Wren corrected him softly. One ship, and the station. Moments later, Vanguard 1 engaged. The warship moved like liquid light, sliding between incoming fire with impossible precision. Energy cannons on its hull flared, releasing bolts that tore through alien shields like paper. Each shot found its mark, punching clean holes through dreadnought armor. The alien fleet responded with overwhelming force. Beams of plasma and gravity lances streaked across the void, hammering at the station's shields. The deck trembled under the impacts, lights flickering, but the defenses held. For now. Wren swayed slightly, her hands gripping the console. Her connection to the station was deep now. Too deep. She felt every strike against its shields, every fluctuation in its core. Pain was dull but constant, like pressure behind her eyes. Elias saw her strain. How long can you hold this link? Wren's faint smile didn't hide her exhaustion. As long as I have to. Outside, the battle escalated. Vanguard 1 unleashed its secondary weapons. Massive arcs of light that split into dozens of smaller beams, cutting through enemy formations like blades. Alien cruisers shattered. Fighters vaporized. Entire wings broke formation, fleeing the carnage. But the coalition pressed harder. New ships joined the fight, larger than before, bristling with weapons. A dreadnought fired a pulse cannon strong enough to crack a planet's crust. The station's shields flared white, groaning under the impact. Alarms blared. Wren's voice dropped to a whisper. Shields, at 70%. Elias clenched his fists. If the station fell, humanity's first stand would end in fire. But then, something changed. The holographic map above the deck lit up. Not just the system, not just the nearby sectors. Farther. Wider. Other stations. Dormant. Waiting. And now, waking. Wren gasped as she felt it, signals pulsing across deep space. Some faint, some strong, all answering the same call. The ancient network was alive again, reactivating piece by piece. Elias saw her eyes widen. What is it? Wren whispered. We're not alone anymore. They're waking up everywhere. In the void, Vanguard 1 delivered its final strike. Energy gathered at its core, glowing brighter and brighter until the entire ship burned like a second sun. Then a single beam erupted, silent, blinding, pure. The beam cut through the heart of the alien fleet, slicing dreadnoughts in half, detonating carriers, tearing formations apart. The blast ended in a shockwave that rippled across space, scattering what remained of the coalition armada. The surviving ships fled, broken, silent, afraid. On the command deck, Ren slumped against the console, pale but alive. The glow in her eyes dimmed slightly, though not completely. The battle is over. Elias looked at the screen, at the wreckage, at the fleeing ships, at the growing list of signals from other stations awakening. He exhaled slowly. No, he said. This was only the beginning. Across the galaxy, ancient lights flickered on one by one. Some in empty systems. Some deep in alien space. All broadcasting the same phrase. The stars are claimed. Humanity has risen. And the galaxy shook.